This is the story of a man who didn't just break the law, he industrialized it. Curtis Warren wasn't your typical street corner dealer. He was a logistical mastermind who built a global empire worth hundreds of millions. At his peak, he was the only criminal to ever be featured on the Sunday Times rich list. But how does a kid from the rough streets of Toxteth, Liverpool, end up controlling the flow of narcotics across entire continents? And why, after reaching the absolute summit of the criminal world, did he risk it all for one small deal in the English Channel? Curtis Warren was born in 1963. Toxteth, at that time, was a pressure cooker. It was a place where the police and the community were at constant odds, culminating in the 1981 riots. For most, the goal was survival. For Curtis, the goal was scale. By his late teens, he was a known face in the local underworld. But while his peers were interested in the glamour of being a tough guy, Curtis was a student of the game. He realized early on that the people with the real power weren't the ones fighting on the street. They were the ones who owned the supply. He spent his early 20s working as a bouncer at various Liverpool clubs. This was his university. He watched the flows of people, the demands of the night, and most importantly, he watched the police. He was learning how to be invisible in plain sight. By the late 1980s, Warren moved away from the petty side of crime. He bypassed the middleman and went straight to the source. This is the era where Curtis Warren became cocky. He didn't just buy drugs, he built a supply chain. He traveled to Venezuela, to the Netherlands. He sat down with the Cali cartel. He was negotiating deals for massive quantities of high-purity cocaine. Shipments so large, they had to be hidden in lead ingots or nested inside industrial machinery. But here is what truly made him the untouchable. Warren had a legendary photographic memory. He didn't keep a single notebook. He didn't have a digital database. He memorized thousands of phone numbers, offshore bank account codes, and shipping container digits. If the police raided his home, they found nothing. If you want more true crime documentaries, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe. No ledgers, no smoking gun paperwork, just a man with a very quiet, very dangerous mind. In 1992, the world almost caught up with him. Warren and several associates were charged in Newcastle with a massive conspiracy to import cocaine. The evidence seemed strong. The customs officers were confident. But Warren's legal team dismantled the prosecution's case bit by bit. When the not guilty verdict was read out, the courtroom was stunned. Legend has it that as Warren walked past the lead investigator, he whispered, "I'm off to spend my money now, and you can't touch me." This wasn't just a win. It was a declaration of war. The British authorities realized that they weren't dealing with a gangster. They were dealing with a ghost. By the mid-90s, the money was moving faster than he could count it. We're talking about an estimated net worth of nearly £200 million. He owned property in Turkey, a vineyard in Bulgaria, and assets across Europe. He was effectively the CEO of a multinational corporation, one that just happened to be illegal. He knew the UK was getting too hot. He moved his base to the Netherlands, believing he could hide in the liberal Dutch laws. From a quiet villa, he orchestrated a network that spanned from the coca fields of South America to the ports of Europe. But he had become a victim of his own success. He was now Target 1. In 1996, the trap finally snapped shut. Dutch tactical units working with British intelligence swarmed his villa. They seized 400 kilograms of cocaine and a massive cache of weapons. In 1997, a Dutch court sentenced him to 12 years. But prison didn't stop him. In 1999, inside the high-security New Vossevel prison, Warren was involved in a fight that left a Turkish drug trafficker dead. Warren claimed self-defense and was acquitted of murder. But his sentence was extended for manslaughter. Even behind bars, his name carried weight. His network didn't vanish. It evolved. He was released in 2007 and returned to Liverpool. The media followed him like a celebrity. The police warned him that he was under lifetime surveillance. But for a man like Warren, the thrill of the deal was an addiction. Only weeks after his release, he began plotting again. But this time, he made a mistake. He targeted the island of Jersey, a tiny jurisdiction with a very focused police force. Warren was planning a £1 million cannabis importation to a man who used to move hundreds of millions in cocaine. This was a small deal, a minor side hustle. But the Jersey authorities were waiting. They used sophisticated and legally controversial wiretaps to record his every word. In 2009, the untouchable was sentenced to another 13 years. The giant had finally tripped over a small stone. Today, Curtis Warren remains a figure of intense fascination. Since his release in late 2022, he has been a man watched by everyone, the police, the public, and the underworld. Was he a folk hero who outsmarted a broken system? Or was he a kingpin who fueled a generation of addiction and violence? Whatever your view, one thing is certain. There will likely never be another Target One like Curtis Warren, a man who built an empire on memory and lost it all to the game. Thanks for watching. This was a deep dive into the life of Britain's most notorious trafficker. If you want more true crime documentaries, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe. Until next time.